Good morning, everybody, and how are you? How are you, Fernando?
I'm doing good.
You know, I know sometimes you think, oh, he doesn't say good morning in every video. Well, that's because those videos are parts of other videos that just didn't make it into the first cut because the video got too long. Anyways, that's not important. This is a new video. We have a new truck. This is a Toyota Tacoma. Let's take a look at the dash. It has this radio right here, which is, in my opinion, very ugly. The customer likes it. He's still on the fence on whether or not he wants to get rid of it or not. For today, he's gonna keep it, which is fine. What we're going to do is we're gonna put an LC7i in it to get us our nice preamp section. And what is that gonna go to? Well, let me show you. We're doing the cool Exelon X801.5. It's one of my favorite amplifiers, so you guys know. It's a nice small footprint 5-channel amplifier. It's gonna go up underneath one of the seats. We're doing the Focal Perfect Fit IC165 TOIs. These are the coaxials. In the front, we're doing the component 6x9s. That's the IS690 TOI. For a subwoofer, we were coming through different, trying to, the joys of picking the right subwoofer. He works out of this truck, he leaves his seats folded down all the time. This is what he decided to go with because he likes the pockets and he wants something that just drops right in. Pioneer factory box with the 110-inch fits right in. And then what we're going to do, these are the clips for the child restraint that he's not going to be using. So we're going to make metal clips that attach onto here and screw into the box so that this doesn't do this. That'll be easy enough, but that fits right into the pocket. Normally we would recommend removing this if you're going to be leaving this up most of the time, because it's just louder. This is gonna be down most of the time, so he needs it for putting stuff on. Now, if you want a box for this, there are plenty of boxes that fit behind the seat here, where you take both these out. There again, he just doesn't wanna see this material here, and we're on a really strict budget on this one. That's the plan. That's the equipment we're putting in. Fernando's already gotten started, because I've been running around grabbing boxes. Let's take a look at the door real quick.
To take the door panel out on this car, it's 2 screws and 1 clip in here. What we want to do is grab like a pick tool. That's a carpet in here, so just remove it. That's a screw right there, and that's a screw behind the handle also, and a clip right here in the corner. These ones are 3 clips. Most of the time they always stay in the car size, so just be careful. I always grab my pick tool. There you go. Then you put it back so you don't lose it. And from there we got a pry tool, plastic. If you don't want to fight with the plugs, you can pop the switches out, and that's when that's going to be more easy for you guys. When we're going to do the plug and play Focal, it's like a perfect fit. The only difference, the plug from the factory is up. For the Focal, it's on the side. So what we're gonna do is remove all this tape and try to bring our connection to the side.
In case you guys have never seen the perfect fit in any of the videos previous, down here on the floor is the factory speaker. My plan is to start pulling that radio out. We need to make a T-harness of some kind. Everything good, Fernando?
Everything is good.
Let's get going. Join me in the cab right now. We're gonna take this dash apart. Get this off, grab it over here on the passenger side, and just give it a good yanking, and then just kind of gently work your way around, and then this whole thing will come off just like that. This only has plastic clips holding it on, though there are a ton. Holds it in nice and tight. Pull the 4 10mm bolts. And these Toyota radios, they usually are like a 2-piece unit, so like this is the Sirius XM here on the bottom. You don't have to unplug all the cables from it. You just want to make sure you unplug like these across the top, and of course the one that's plugged into here, which is Sirius XM. There is a fair amount of room inside this dash, like if you wanted to hide a brick amp or something like that up in this guy here. You can see I can stick my arm in there pretty far. What we want to look at is these 2 harnesses, this one right here. This is a 1761 typical Toyota harness. We have the BHA and the BHO 1761. This one is a match for the factory harness. This of course would be the one that plugs into the factory harness. So what we end up with is this, which means we can make this, which will be a T harness. So this will go here, this will go into the back of the radio, and that'll allow us to do this interfacing without cutting any of the plug. What we want to take a look at is make sure we have all the wires we need in these harnesses. For this case, what we're looking at is this has this brown wire here. This one has it, but the reverse harness doesn't. So I'm gonna have to find a wire to clip into this. And then on the other one, this actually doesn't have this blue wire, this guy right here. What I'll be able to do is take this pin out and use that to repin in on this so that I'll have all the matching wiring that I need. So you just want to make sure that everything that is here passes through. We got our homework right here. We need to go move some pins around. Let's head over to the bench. We'll get this T-harness mocked up. First thing we want to do is pull this blue wire here in the center. There's a little tooth on the inside of this harness that holds it in place. You just want to lift up on that tooth and then you can slide it out. Next, we'll go ahead and separate these two blue wires, and then we'll slide in the one that goes where the factory is. Now once we've cut the two, we're done with this. There's nothing in these two locations on the factory side. Come over and repeat the process on this one just for beauty purposes because they're not going to be doing anything. The one wire we do need to replace is we're going to take the blue one we took out, put it on the opposite side of where this orange black is because this is in the factory harness. And there we go. What we want to do is take these wires here and these wires here and solder them together. Out of the radio, these guys here are what's going to go to the LC7I. They'll go ahead and go off and give the LC7I signal. And then from our amplifier, connect it up to these wires here, and they'll go off and feed these speakers we're installing. T-harness is all set and ready to go. We have what's going to plug in behind the radio, and then we have what's going to plug into the factory plugs, and our speaker wires can attach here just like we said.
The passenger side actually different because the plug is on the inside of the truck. That would be nice if they actually like put it in the outside of the truck, but I'm assuming they just grab one speaker and they make it. All right, let's move to the tweeter.
So we've gone ahead and done is plug the radio back in, and we have our two RTAs, one for front and one for rear. This is the rear, this is the front. Put a disc in that is playing pink noise, turn it up. And what we want to look at is on this side of the RTA to see what is going on. So clearly the rear just doesn't have the amount of bass that the front has. It has more bass, which would make total sense because the front has 6x9s and the rear only has a 6.5. Front is where most of the bass is coming from. In this case, what we want to do is make sure we use the fronts to feed the subwoofer and not the rears. Gone ahead and made new labels for the unit. This is telling us this is the rear input, the front input, the sub we're not going to use. Then we have rear output, front output, sub output. That way if later down the road we need to come back and service it or something like that, we'll go ahead and know what's what and we won't have to try to figure out what the heck we did.